Cattle ranchers and good land stewardship go together like a cowboy and his trusted horse. They wouldn't thrive without each other. We understand this at the South Florida Water Management District. We own and manage more than 1 million acres of public land. Many of these lands are conservation lands, while others will be used for water management or environmental restoration projects. But nearly all require some form of stewardship activity, such as exotic plant control and water quality protection. To help us manage some of these lands, we rely on other agencies as well as the private sector. One of these programs is our cattle grazing land leasing program. Cattle ranching has a long history in Florida. Cattle were first introduced to North America in Florida in 1521 by Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon. For nearly 500 years, the cattle industry has contributed significantly to Florida's natural resources. As caretakers of thousands of acres of pasture land, Florida cattle ranchers are good land stewards. Lands used for cattle production are also important environments for native plant and animal habitat and aquifer recharge. Birds and other wildlife thrive on lands used for cattle production. Today, raising cattle is one of the biggest businesses in the state. So saddle up and let's see a roundup of some land management activities practiced by a district cattle grazing leaseholder. You'll meet Fritz Brewer, a multi-generational Florida cattle rancher who leases both project and conservation lands. And you'll meet Jim Lang, a district environmental scientist and an expert in cattle grazing land management. So giddy up, let's go. Our first stop on the ride is a 480-acre cattle grazing lease on project land near Fort Pierce in St. Lucie County. The land will eventually be used for the Indian River Lagoon South Restoration C23-C24 Reservoir Project. You've heard the old saying that you can bring a horse to water but can't make him drink? But did you know that you can bring a cow to water and make him drink? Why? Let's meet up with Fritz and Jim on the ranch to see how a water trough is used as a land management tool to protect water quality by keeping the cattle from drinking out of drainage ditches. The cows like it, and the environment likes it.
Well, it gives the cattle a place to drink without drinking out of the ditches. When you have a lot of rain, wet weather, and the water leaves here, it has to go through these ditches full of grass, and that grass helps take the nutrients out of the water so before it goes into a big canal.
Another cattle ranching land management tool in the Roundup is pasture rotation. Let's take a look to see how this tool controls exotic vegetation and uses natural fertilizer to ensure new healthy grass for healthy cattle and their calves. Fritz and Jim, how does it work?
Yeah, we rotate to give the grass in the pasture you vacated a chance to grow, and it gives the cattle a fresh grass every 2 weeks, plus the nutrients that the cattle drop in the pasture. It gives them a chance to dry out and dissipate.
Grasses are managed better for not just growth but for exotics, and it's a much better situation for both the lessee in terms of the fact that the cows produce better on fresh grass.
Our next stop is a 440-acre cattle grazing lease on wildlife conservation land purchased jointly with Martin County for the Allapattah Flats Management Area west of Stewart. At the Allapattah lease, prescribed pasture burning is another land management activity that is both good for the cattle and good for the environment. It keeps both wildlife and plant systems well balanced and thriving on ranch lands. Fritz and Jim, show us how things are heating up down on the ranch.
Yeah, we're here at Allapattah B parcel in Martin County, and this is a 600-acre prescribed burn that we did yesterday. So it's very, very recent, obviously, and you can see the all of the biomass across the field has been mineralized, or the fertilizer, macronutrients, and micronutrients have been released back into the environment, which is one of the benefits of us using this land conservation practice. If you look across the field here, you'll see what it looked like prior to the burn. and you can see all that above ground biomass. That is all a exotic species that we're trying to work on, and by burning it down and starting over, prescribed burning is used to enhance some of our exotic vegetation management techniques that we use.
In addition to best management practices required by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to protect the environment, cattle grazing leases also have to implement land management activities required by the South Florida Water Management District. Jody Hansing, a lead district engineer, explains some of these requirements.
So this is Alapata A's primary discharge canal. This discharge canal drains into the C23, which is just behind me. There are several best management practices and land management practices in place to protect the natural resources of our district property. The first one being that the canal banks are fully vegetated. This helps minimize erosion. The cattle are kept out of the canal at the offsite discharge point through the use of fencing, which is also installed here. Also, keeping the canals free of floating aquatic vegetation is critical. That's one of the other BMPs. And controlling the structures that, that control discharges from the site by reducing discharges. That's also a BMP that is required for these lease lands.
We really do appreciate the fact that you're leasing some of these properties. It's an advantage to us, and it's a great opportunity.
We appreciate you as a partner because we consider our lessees as land management partners, and so we just appreciate that you're willing to come out here and make a go of it with the cows and be a land management partner with us. So we're very appreciative of that.
Well, when we first leased this piece, there was old dead orange trees all out there, and I've been just kind of slowly working on it and cleaning it up a little bit, and just trying to being a good steward.
Now, let's tie up at the homestead in West Palm Beach to get more information on the South Florida Water Management District's cattle grazing land leasing program and land management activities. It's a win-win partnership and good land stewardship. Thanks for watching.